Oh my goodness. Here we go. Let's start. We're coming at you guys with another exciting, beautiful, wonderful beta read. Okay, this one's going to be great. With that being said, hopefully we're not too laggy today, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. A huge shout out to Tim England. Wonderful for giving me permission to read this for all you guys. And this should be exciting. Before we start the video, let's just get a little bit of plugs out the way. Myself, Michael Romasanta, 4-time published author, 5-star beta reader, ghostwriter, and now editor. Oh my goodness. We're all over the place. So quick plug, of course, I got my own books over here. Not Ever Starting the Night. Wonderful. It's a beautiful horror book, my second book ever written. So nice, so glossy. And of course, we got Bright Dreadful Sun. But very exciting today is we actually got the library copy of the Yamikage today, which is just outstanding. I got this at the local library. That was really fun. So, anyways, authors, if you're going to get your books in the library, don't be afraid to call them. Go ahead, pick up the phone and start dialing. Anyways, today we're doing another classic beta read. And how do we do this? Okay, the difference between this type of beta read and what usually happens. An actual beta read, is, as far as I'm concerned, could take hours and hours and hours. It takes notes. It takes a lot of writing down. But that's not what we're doing today, people. We're doing live beta reads. So what does that look like? It's basically almost like a skim, okay? It's almost like a first time. I go into this with fresh eyes. I do not peer it over. I'm looking at for it the first time, just like you guys. It's all coming off the dome. So with that being said, I'll try to keep it short. A lot of people have been kind of recommending that I don't care about the time limit. I don't know. We'll see. But today, we are going to be reading Tim England's work. Oh my goodness, it's going to be awesome. But I don't think I have a name yet. Maybe I did. I got to check my messages. But I will probably ask. Anyways, nonetheless, let's go off the top. We're going to be judging off. We're not judging. Here's another thing about beta reading. You're critiquing, which is a little bit different than judging. Because this is art. Art, at the end of the day, doesn't have clear-cut, cookie-cutter rules. But there are definitely some guidelines you should follow. There are fundamentals that you should definitely, kind of seek to hit. There's certain check marks that you should definitely start to hit. With that being said, you got to have a nice balance between compliments, okay, and constructive criticism. You're not trying to knock down the author, and that's what I see a lot of beta readers doing out there. It's just knocking down the author and elevating themselves. We're not here to do that today. We're here to encourage. And if you're a beta reader, go ahead, get out of that habit. Go ahead and just try to lift people up. Anyways, nonetheless, when you're beta reading, there's a lot of things you're going to look out for. So with that being said, let's get moving. Hopefully it's not. I feel like it is lagging, but it's probably not lagging, but it may even be lagging. Oh, well, anyways, let's just jump right into this. From an editor perspective, we have small little indentations there. I want big indentations. Anyways, whatever. So here we go with the first sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, the first sentence, first paragraph, first chapter. Very important hotspots, good real estate in this book. So what is this author doing here? So he starts off with a tell, not show. So with that being said, we want to do the exact opposite. We want to show, not tell. He's beginning with feel, sensory detail, which is actually pretty interesting. It was cold. It was cold. That's a little bit too short as a sense for me. This is the time where you're supposed to elevate. You're supposed to really fire on all cylinders. So get those literary techniques out there. Get a ham. Go ham. So with that being said, it was cold. There's so many different ways to describe cold. There's so many different ways to kind of elevate this. I would certainly combine with the next sentence, blistering damn cold. Simple comma could help there. Blistering damn cold is a good way because we're elevating the sensory detail with blistering, with a nice adjective. So that could definitely help. Also, we're seeing almost right out the gate, okay, main characters. I'm a big fan of that, actually. I actually do like when people present setting and their main characters pretty early on. Because what do we want to do, people? Okay, do we want to just make good characters? Yes, but we also want to make characters people love. At the end of the day, you can have a great character, people love him. What's up with that? Love is the key to everything. So we got Sam Cassidy over here in Chen Tao. Presenting characters. You want to definitely present their character profiles as well. Pepper them in, but also at the same time, it's time to lay a strong foundation. So when you bring in these characters, really elevate them. Go ahead and, start bringing out the character profile. Because if you're going to throw them in there so fast, I want to get to know these people. This is kind of an open that's just really just throwing you in there. So with that being said, during revisions, I would take it slow. I'm a big fan of, I'm a fast talker, but I'm a big fan of when you're writing, take it slow at first. Don't go so in. So in without the necessary details. So a case that led them to San Francisco, okay? So obviously we got this book starting in 1904. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're writing a different time zone, different world, different planet, especially if you're kind of going back in time here, do your research on elements that may make sense. So if your book is stationed in 1904, keep in mind too, readers do want to learn something at the same time at the end of the day. So if there's something you could teach a reader about this time period, oh my goodness, and it's accurate, then that just makes everything so awesome. Wow. People are still, I think people are still hanging out with horses in this time period, huh? What's up with the horses? All right, so next we got an echelon of settings. Okay, so I like that too. I'm a big fan of kind of presenting your setting early. One thing a lot of people don't do is they don't do, they just put your silhouette, they put silhouette characters and then, I like to picture that one scene in The Matrix where they're in this room that's all white. And that's a lot of times how people begin their novels without any setting. And then maybe like a couple pages down the line, we get one, and it's like, dude, these characters have been sitting there forever. So, echelon of settings. When you're presenting setting, you also kind of want to elevate those a little bit too. How does San Francisco look then as compared to now? You know, sure, it's a big difference. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper. Oh my goodness. So this first paragraph here, we got a lot of settings. So with that being said, take it a step at a time. I'll take it a step at a time. Understand and establish your goals. I would definitely take that a little bit slow. A little bit of moonlight was going through the tiny window. We make a highlight here, and then there's that. But that's about all. Double conjunction. I would eliminate the double conjunction. We got and and but right there. No need for that continuation. You could get rid of that. Constance Henry and Sam Cassidy. Is that a third character introduction? Take it slow. Elevate your character profiles. You know, get into like how tall they're, how big they are. You know, people. A lot of people are even afraid of ethnicity. Sometimes I really see that where people are really. Don't be afraid of these things. Go ahead. You know, their weight is important. Their age. Present these things for us so we can already have a picture. So we've got 3 characters, and this is within like 10 seconds of reading. So with it being said, you see, you gotta leave breadcrumbs. You know what I mean? Take it easy. Take it slow. But what we got here is some sensory detail with the bed creak. That's nice. Okay, that's not the worst. You could elevate with an adjective right next to that. Sam and Constance were picking up speed now. Now this is a lot of tell not show. It's cool. This happens all the time. It even happens to big authors. There are times when you do need a tell not show, but when you have like this is happening, that's happening, like this, that, and the other. It's kind of like getting jabbed with a finger. You know what I mean? So with that being said, watch out for sentences that can be elevated. And if you're reading it and the narrator is telling you, you know what I mean, maybe double check. Maybe double check if there's a way you can present it in a way that shows, not tells. So Sam and Constance were picking up speed now. Okay, well there's different ways to say that. Okay. There's also a computer screen over here. Okay, Constance Henry, this is pretty interesting. So with this being said, usually genre could kind of come up pretty fast. This genre seems somewhat convoluted at this point, but we'll see. We will see. Now, the author actually told me exactly what kind of book this is, but I'm just going off the dome here. It was noted as a Western. Horror! There are 6 of these little rooms, 1 for each horror, behind the nasty fair. So this is really good. I love how the author's elevating the setting by giving it a clear, distinct name. It has somewhat of a purpose. I could tell it's like somewhat maybe of a brothel, something like that. Mary giggles. Really bringing in the sexuality, I suppose, you know, horror. A double check, and this is not something bad or good. It's just something I'd like to note that, you know, double check if you want these kind of more mature themes in here. Because I see a lot of times people writing, like, they label their own writing as YA fiction. Okay, well, look at look at like Harry Potter or something like that. That's good YA fiction. But what are you going to do? What, you're not going to be talking about horrors and doors and all that. But this is definitely, it doesn't seem like YA. I'm just saying, all you authors out there, double check, you know, if you're going to put yourself under the YA umbrella. So, shadowy buildings. Okay, interesting. Back to California. Bighorn sheep. Definitely check out your goals. Understand your goals. Understand the place in the plot. This is not a prologue, okay? Well, let me double check. I think I'm pretty sure it was chapter 1. Yep, no prologue. There's no precedence for the story, so we're going into it. Okay, so with that being said, know your goals, know the points that are going to come after an introduction. So we have some of the elements that are correct present here, where we got the characters and setting presented fairly early on. I would love to see more of that aesthetic brought out. Now, they're cold, they're freezing. There's a lot of good real estate for that, which is pretty cool. I like that. Let's move on. Yeah, I'm actually going to try to keep this one short. I'm already at 10 minutes. But yeah, you know, everybody's telling me don't rush it. Keep it easy. And hey, what do you got to do? You got to keep on moving, So okay, now we got more characters. This is something where I'm already gonna try to. I would write this in the report. Stay away from so many characters so fast. The characters we already have not been elevated yet. The character profile is almost absent. So with that being said, I would take this slow and understand the point of the introduction is to introduce every characters, but understand what's next in the plot structure is the inciting incident. So with that being said, that's the next thing we're moving for, especially in your first draft. Know your landmarks. So let's see. It was around midnight. Okay, pretty cool, pretty cool. And giving us the nice time, very clear. Crude bar, 4 tables, big time. More sensors, the bar room. I would like to see this setting elevated a little bit more. The inside, maybe describe how it looks, maybe how it sounds a little bit. Big Tom Morris is huge and enormous. So we're third person omniscient. It seems. Well, let me double check. Yeah, we might be in third person omniscient. I almost see that. Yeah, it's actually third person limited because if there's a sentence coming up that said they tried the knob. Third person omniscient, the narrator knows everything. Okay. Third person limited, the narrator does not know everything. But it's not also first person perspective. So Big Tom, this is in quotation marks. So I would recommend, I guess, from an editor perspective, maybe italicize that as opposed to the quotations. Since we're in third person limited, not first person perspective. He's big with a dripping mustache. Okay, here's great. We're elevating the character profile. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what did he do good there? What did he do really good there? He gave the character a unique characteristic, which is very important for relatability as well as memorability. So, with that being said, now I don't even know Big Tom. His character profile is not elevated to that point where I'm gonna know him like the back of my hand. I say it to the point where you should know a character, the reader should know a character that if they saw them walking on the street, you'd be able to recognize them. Now, Big Tom, he already has such a unique characteristic with the drooping mustache. I can remember this character because of that, simply that. So just look at, ladies and gentlemen, look at the power behind unique characteristics. Huge, amazing. Oh my goodness. So what are we looking for here? I'm looking for tension because we're going to try to start the inciting incident soon. We got some dialogue. Said a cowboy. I got somewhat of an issue with this sentence. Dialogue tag is not elevated. Said is dead. But at the same time, do you need elevated dialogue tags each and every single time? No, but when you have these standalone points of dialogue, they can be used to push the plot forward. You can elevate these dialogue tags to help describe that environment, help elevate the character profiles. We can handle ourselves all the way. So it seems like this character is giving a definitive. Go a little further with it. Clue in. Dialogue is definitely supposed to help plot movement and character development. Said a cowboy. I would get that out of the way. Elevate. We already have so many characters. I can't tell who's the main yet. So spend time with your main character. Make it lovable. Because we want a character that we're gonna love. I'm noticing just from a presentation standpoint that these margins are pretty big. And the indentation is kind of I'm sure this is the first draft, so nothing to worry about here. But we started with this. Okay. The next word. Okay, I'm Asian. Okay, so this is a little standout to me. The chink here. What does a chink mean? It's a little hole in an armor. Or it's a whole little hole. But for me and for somebody else, they might be taking a gasp by that. You know what I mean? So I would double check that. I'm not taking offense to that. Well, let's say somebody else might see that and they'd be like, what the, come on. I see this a lot of times. Double check that there's another word that you could probably substitute. Even if you like that word, maybe you could double check. And say, hey, man, maybe maybe the Asian beta reader YouTuber might get a little upset at that. I'm not upset, but let's keep on moving. There's something to double check when you have innuendos present. Okay, so guns. Guns are going to be part of the weapon system. Okay, magic system, weapon system. That's a part of this. We're not in fantasy fiction. Okay, we don't have to worry too much about how the guns are going to look in the story. But also at the same time, don't be afraid to really elevate the actual types of guns as well. So we got the 6-gun. I'm assuming this is kind of like a revolver. Isn't that interesting? So, of course, it's not going to be an assault rifle. We're in the 1900s. So these are little nuances that you can go. Like here's something in the beta report I would kind of like recommend. Like maybe go ahead, research a cool specific type of gun. Maybe something with like a nice, unique design. Find something like almost like a vintage antique and try to describe it that way. Maybe some nice embroidery. They came to room 12. One even whispers. Right there. One even whispers. That can go. If I was editing that, I would take that out. Said a cowboy. That can go. They tried a knob. God. Oh, Sam dashes out the room naked. That's funny. Sam dashes out the room. naked. I would double check that one. It's a tell. There's a lot of telling going on. Show. Go ahead and show. Now, inciting incident. What is going to kick off the plot at large? That's what I'm looking for. Number one. Usually you kind of see it at the end of chapter one, right around this area. It comes in pretty fast. You got to establish, your main characters, make sure they're there, and they're not elevated to this point. Like right now, it's to the point I should already know who the main character is. I should know a lot about them, actually. There should be a lot presented via the subtext. Okay, we got some stylizing going on. Not bad, not bad. We love some stylizing, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing wrong with stylizing. I'm a big fan of it. Okay, excessive, not too much, but I think this author got it just perfect, right? Stay right, missed. Okay. I would like to see more elevated dialogue as well, like between the characters. Um, like we don't have a lot of speaking between actual characters. That will help elevate the character profile. That will help bring out some memorability, which is what we need. Like right now, we see a lot of things are going on at once. It looks like some big troubles afoot. It's very formal mood, figurative speaking. All the two people in the room, Cassidy, Big Tom, and Lance Newcomb. There's really cool names. What the author's doing good is too is including their last name as well. There are some manuscripts I'll receive that already at this point they don't have last names. It's just Sam, this, that, and the other. Okay. Double click check. I like the stylizing again. Click. It's making a certain noise. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stylizing shouldn't always substitute for actual legitimate sensory detail, but I think he's doing it very, very well here. The hammer falls and the misfire. Next thing, kill that son of a bitch, ordered Big Tom. What did I just do there? I gave it a little bit of an accent. You know what I mean? Because if you're talking, like, let's say I'm talking to Big Tom. We're in, a Western. I would expect him to sound how it just sounded. Like, kill the son of a bitch. Like, I would bring out that tonality. I would bring out that timbre. So elevate these dialogue tags for sure is what I recommend. Okay, this is another thing. This is literally what I was just talking about. Do not substitute stylizing for sensory detail in moderation. You did it there, right there. He did it right there. It was nice. But now we have this excessive stylizing. Make sure that you're also utilizing, legitimate narratives for the sensory detail. You don't need too much of that. Oh, is that it? Oh, we're done. Oh my goodness. Oh, wait. Hold up. Man, that's the last one. That's the last one. Where were we? Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of bang. I like that. I like that stylizing initially. That's really cool. Just make sure we use it in moderation. We don't need so much of that. Don't use stylizing to substitute for proper narrations. Wow. So it looks like, and we got more characters coming up. Another deputy fires. We're thrust into this action. You see that a lot in like action novels where we're just thrown into it. With that being said, there's a way to do that and there's a way to not do that. I think at this point, you should take it slow and focus on your main characters. Make sure things are like really crystal clear. Focus on memorability. Look for your tells and not shows. There's a lot of telling not showing here. Look for these sentences that can be elevated, especially with your dialogue tags. One thing I'm noticing is maybe there's strips of dialogues, onion chops, as I call them, or also ping pong dialogue. This is actually, it's the difference. This is not ping pong dialogue because it's not going back and forth. But it is onion chops. So what would I do here? I would have these characters talk to each other, elevate it that way, because this chapter is pretty short, actually. It ends on dialogue as well. Said Sam at the end, that's something I would elevate. Okay. I also recommend ending on a good paragraph transition out that is a full narrative. But sometimes people do that for aesthetic, and it doesn't work here. I think, in my opinion. Yes, man, I don't want to stop. I feel like when I do these, I just want to keep reading. And that's a good point about the book. So, Tim, if you're still watching this, keep in mind that even though there's all this constructive criticism, I'm sitting here thinking I want to read the rest of this. You know what I mean? So that's good. That's good. There are just these nuances you definitely want to kind of double check. I'm pretty sure this is definitely in maybe the first drafting stages. It needs revisions. In that last paragraph, we start with the conjunction. I'll double check that. Look, I want to go back because I don't know. You're doing wonderful because now I want to go back and read more. And this is all I got. That's a great thing. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes less is more. So we got this last paragraph starting with a conjunction and conjunctions are utilized for continuations. I wouldn't recommend opening up this new paragraph here. This is good real estate right here. This last paragraph is fantastic real estate for some back and forth dialogue. Not too much crazy onion chops, but you would likely see them in this situation. since this is like kind of like a like a nice shootout here. There's so much action, but maybe Cassidy could be. Let me see what's going on. Cassidy could say something as she's shooting, like, "Yo, get down, you dumb son of a bitch," and then maybe Big Tom, I'm gonna get you, like. Go ahead, go ahead and bring. This is good real estate for dialogue because we don't see this dialogue back and forth. What we're seeing is like kind of like almost like talking out loud with these characters. I would love to see these characters talk to each other because if you could present that earlier, these three main characters. I mean, I can't really tell who the actual legitimate main character is, but seeing Cassidy and Chentao, that's a pretty what's the word here? These are two characters that are thrust in my face immediately. And I would like to see them elevated with the character profile. So double check that. I like how you start with elevate your setting. Don't do too much at once. Watch out for the tell not shows. Tell not show. I would redo this first sentence. Just doing one last little checkup. The blanket cowboy. The blanket said Constance. Okay, nonverbal communication. What is Constant doing? Double check if you could elevate these texts. When people are talking like a lot of fast back and forth, you don't need so many elevated tags, but when they're just I don't want to call it one note, but maybe a singular melody, I suppose. But here they're kind of just saying one sentence and it's kind of going away. This is good real estate to elevate your dialogue tags to help that out. I love the stylizing. I'm a big fan of stylizing because keep in mind too, your editor, if you're going to send it off to your editor, they might not want to stylize or they might not understand what you're trying to portray through your stylizing. So once you receive when an editor receives a manuscript that has this type of stylizing, they'll be like, okay, this author wants me to leave that there, even if it kind of might not be the best. Right here, it's pretty well because it's nice, bold text, italicized. I'm a big fan of stylizing. But like I said, moderation. Like right here, it's done pretty well. We're naming settings, and right there, billiard room. You could tell that's almost. You could almost like picture like like a sign or something like that. Very good, very good. I like that. But downstairs, we got the bang, bang, bangs. Those can go. Make sure that you can substitute for actual nice sensory detail. Really paint that picture for us. Lance. So okay, said Lance. Set is dead in a lot of these instances we see here. Elevate that, I would say, because I don't know any of these characters yet. Work on their character profiles big time. So especially since you have so many characters right now, there's so much going on. Take it slow, okay? As a drummer, I'll tell you this too as well. Drummers, and music really translates to writing a lot, I feel. When you're playing the drums a lot, people when they start, they see the drums, they see the guy going super duper fast and going crazy. I used to be like that too. Same with the piano. I was like, oh my goodness, let me just go in there, get it going. How do you get that fast? How do you get fast? And precise. You start slow. You take it super slow, actually. The key to going fast, the key to nailing it is taking slow. So with that being said, make sure the elements are in place. Those fundamentals are in place. And especially when we're in the midst of all this cool action. Yeah, so work on your fundamentals, especially with the character profiles. Stay right, miss. Dialogue. I would focus on your dialogue as well. Don't be afraid of some of that back and forth. There's a difference between ping pong dialogue, which is like super fast, or there's tennis dialogue. These are things I'm just coining because tennis is a bit more articulate, where it's a lot more room for back and forth in a more articulate way, more elegant way, as opposed to ping pong. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? How you doing? Pretty good. Good. So kill the son of a bitch. That's some interesting dialogue. I like that dialogue. It could be elevated with the nice tags. Ordered Big Tom. Elevate Tom. Unique characteristics are important. You had one for the man at the beginning. That was good. Where are we at? 23 minutes. Let me see. No, that should be it. Well, keep it moving. Tom, don't stop writing. Ladies and gentlemen, don't stop writing. Beta readers out there, keep it moving. Elder editors, ghostwriters, do what you gotta do, okay? Work on your fundamentals, people, and keep on writing. Like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. We love it. I will drop my Fiverr gig in the description, the same with the books. If this book was already released, I would drop that in the description as well. But until then, get ready for some Tim England. He's coming out the gate strong. Work on your fundamentals, like I said. Take it slow. And, yeah, keep it real. Have a good one. And, ladies and gentlemen, keep on writing. Don't stop writing. Oh, by the way, I dropped 3 videos yesterday, which is pretty fun. Yeah, don't stop riding.